Okay.
All right, we're recording now. Hey, everybody, this is Sam Dennehy, aka Halfass Customs, and this is Halfass Presents the podcast. Our special guest today is Theodore. He's well known for his passenger buses that he builds. Theodore, why don't you take it away? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in the hobby.
Hey, what's going on, people? I haven't been doing this pretty long. How I got in the hobby was I actually am a CDL driver, and I drove buses for almost 6, 7 years. So I just started collecting model buses of what I was driving.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, well then, seeing that you are in this scale, the scale that we're all in and what this podcast is about,
Mm-hmm.
what chose you to be in this scale compared to any other scale, like Hot Wheels scale or even bigger?
Well, I used to collect all scale buses, but I actually always enjoy seeing everybody with the model trains and the train sets. So I said, I never seen anybody do a bus set. So I wanted to be different. And for me, it seemed like HO and 187 had the most options as far as, layouts and buildings and stuff like that. So that's why I chose the 187 scale to collect, which is
Well,
pretty much the only thing I collect now at this point.
okay. Well, I don't know nothing about buses except for I've been on a few real
Okay.
ones, and I don't know nothing about the collecting side or the model side of it.
Okay.
When you said when you got into collecting, you noticed there was a lot of options, I guess, for this scale. Um, are, I really know nothing about buses, but how much is there, like in your opinion, compared to say other scales that you've noticed when you started collecting to now that you're mostly just collecting these? What are the differences in the amount of options that are out there from this scale to other scales?
Well, actually, when I started, there wasn't a lot of options as far as types of buses. There was only a couple, but I chose that size because there was more options as far as um, the accessories like buildings and stuff. So that I can, so I
Gotcha.
pretty much only had one type of bus, but just a whole bunch of them. But I looked out that as soon as I started collecting, a company called Iconic Replicas started making a whole bunch of other different types of model buses, like
Oh
literally
wow.
within maybe 2 or 3 years of me collecting. So I fell
Oh,
right into
see,
it.
they finally found a collector. They were like, okay, this is our
Yeah,
excuse.
he's spending big money, so let's wheel him in.
Right. You might as well shoot. And there's a genre of vehicle for everybody out there. And
Exactly.
for you it's the buses, and now finally there seems to be a company that recognizes, hey, we should probably be building more different ones out there. And I did
Exactly.
notice that a lot of your buses seem to be about the same brand of bus, I guess that it would be, but with just different paint schemes and whatnot. Do
Hmm.
you customize other than paint jobs, like to try to make it a different style bus, a different kind of bus at all?
No, the actually different type of buses are the buses they created. I just do the paint job because the what I'm trying to create is like a bus company. So the name, like I even have one in front of me. That's the company that you always see. I made
Okay,
that up.
okay.
I made up the name. I did the colors. I didn't want to collect Greyhound buses. I mean, you see Greyhound all day.
You
Everybody
do.
knows Greyhound. I wanted my own company. So,
That's awesome.
so uh, when they sell them, you can also buy a blank one, where it's just a plain white bus. So you can paint it, put your own name on it, customize it how you want to. So I just created my own bus company for myself.
That's cool, man. That's just like my garages. That's exactly
Yeah,
what I did. I try to create a brand for myself, and
exactly.
everything that came out of that brand was from
Mhm.
that name. And
Exactly.
that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. So that's
Exactly.
cool.
Uh-huh.
So do you have not a bus station in a sense, but like a bus. How would you like a bus garage? I would say.
A garage, a depot. Yeah, yes, I do.
Yeah.
So you as a collector, you know, sometimes you have to be creative.
Oh yeah.
So I'm using for my garage a fire station.
Oh, okay.
So I just was creative with it. The buses fit in there, so that's my garage.
That's cool. And do you put a label out there with your logo on it,
Yeah, sure
so
do.
everybody driving by knows that's you?
Yep, that's it.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Um,
Hmm.
so in your modeling, did you basically literally start off with this scale to decide to model, or were you modeling other like model cars in the past, or is this like your first venture in the actual modeling of your collection?
I would say buses was always the main thing, but I started with 150 scale,
Okay, okay, yeah,
which is a little bigger.
right.
Well,
It's
actually a
yeah.
lot bigger, but
No, it is a lot bigger. I know that
yeah,
scale. Hot
yeah,
Wheels
yeah,
came out with a very limited run of 150th scale Hot Wheels.
yeah.
So yeah, I
So
know that scale. That's big.
they they made a couple buses. It wasn't that much, but like I said, that bus was too big to make a scale model as far as like a diagram. So
Right.
that's why I got away from it and I went to 187.
That's funny. I was just talking to another. Had another interview with Tom Hart earlier
Oh,
today, and we were talking literally about that same subject about how if you try to model a bigger scale, you run out of room because it's already
really?
just too big. So with this
Exactly.
scale, it's almost perfect size for you to have a module or a diorama and to fit a
Exactly.
lot of stuff on it because it's just the perfect size.
Exactly. Exactly. I think the 150 scales are made for people who just put them on a display case or something like that. But
Right.
if you're trying to build an actual diagram of like a garage or a city, you know, 150, 132, 124, 118, those are just way too big.
They really are.
Way too big.
I mean, you may be able to pull off a street, but not a whole town.
No, not absolutely. Unless you rich and you have a mansion and
Yeah, and then you wanted to waste. I mean, even then you wouldn't have a lot of room just because of how big it is. I mean, even if you put your whole entire 125th scale uh, city in a warehouse, I
yeah.
mean, that warehouse could fit a whole entire country in this scale compared to just a city in that scale.
And plus, if you do it in those scales, you would pretty much have to have your buildings and stuff custom made because
Oh yeah,
there's no
there's nothing.
manufacturer in those scales.
No. I am in a lot of 125th scale model groups on Facebook, and
Okay.
it is so funny because that very thing, building of dioramas of building fronts, they're just doing building fronts right now. They're not really
Okay.
focusing on the whole building, but that's
Mhm.
becoming a real popular thing in the model car world to bring life to just their model cars.
Yeah.
And I've seen where in LA, there's a famous cruising street called Whittier Boulevard, and it's where all the lowriders cruise down. And
Okay.
they took three 8 by 3 fold out tables
Hmm.
long, and then built the street just as the table width, and then built like I don't know, like a half a foot wider off the table for the building
Okay.
fronts and the sidewalks and then the trees to go along. And they
Yeah.
filled like a whole car club fills up the whole entire 3 tables to make it look like there's cars going down the street. And
Wow.
that has just started to become a thing within the last couple of years, because before then, and I've been modeling for 30 years, that's never been a thing to
Wow.
build like buildings to go along with your car.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
only been a
Okay.
thing for like the model railroaders. That's always
Yeah.
been a thing for model railroaders, but never for the
Yeah.
model car world. So it's
Yeah.
neat that they are starting to do it, although it just takes up so much room. And
Exactly. Yeah.
I,
It does.
I was just telling Tom Hart, I could fit probably 500 cars on an 8 by 3 fold out table
Mm-hmm.
compared to maybe 50 cars of 125th scale or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, this
Exactly.
scale is, I like this scale a lot better. And it's neat
So
to
do I.
see, even though I know nothing about buses, and I don't know how many people do know anything about buses, but there's people out there that are modeling them and building their own
Man,
versions of them.
let me tell you something. I know at least three model bus groups, and they're
Wow.
large. I mean,
Wow.
at least 3 or 4 thousand members.
See, and you would know because you drive buses for a living, you model
Uh,
buses, so you're looking out for those specific things.
Exactly.
So that's neat that at least you can say, and now we're putting this on YouTube, that you know that there are bus groups out there and they do
Oh yeah.
exist. So you're not the only one,
Oh yeah.
even though
Yeah.
we in the 187 group may only see you posting buses
Yeah.
all the time, but there's a
Yeah.
lot more people actually doing
A
it that we.
whole lot. And I mean, you think my pictures are nice, man? You gotta see some of these guys set up. Man, I mean, like, I question like if they spending their whole paycheck on this stuff because they got some amazing stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, if you're a passionate bus enthusiast and you build models and you're going to want to try and build the best you could, I guess, get the most variety and make it
Mm-hmm.
look as good as you possibly could. I mean, I would
Exactly.
hope you would.
Exactly. You right. You right.
That's cool. So, uh, anything about the old school buses that you see, the yellow school bus that you see on like every train set
Mhm.
anywhere in America? You try to do any of those? I mean, I know it's not, doesn't seem like your type of bus because of what you build, but there
Okay.
are those. You ever try to make your own version of those at all?
Well, iconic replicas, they started with the modern buses first, but it does look like they're starting to go back to the old buses because
Okay.
they just dropped and I actually have one in the back if you want to see it. They got an MCI, I think it's a 1978 MC7. That's
Oh
more of
wow.
an older style bus. Um, I
I
mean,
got one bus, this bus,
yeah,
and I haven't
scenic
even
cruise.
built it yet. I don't even know
Yeah,
what I'm gonna do with it because I'm
yeah,
not a bus guy. I have no use for this. But
yeah.
all I see is a custom metal flake paint job with some big old 30-inch rims and it slammed to the ground. That's all I see in this bus. But I don't
I
even
got,
want to build it because I don't know if I want to ruin it and do that to this.
I got you. Yeah, they got those. They got the scenic cruises, and like I said, I don't think Iconic Replicas is a new company, but they just now started really getting into the buses, and they
Okay,
started with the new ones first, and it's like they're kind of working their way back.
gotcha.
That's what it seems. That's what it looks like.
I know there's a company, and I only know it because of Bob Johnson putting it on the 187 scale vehicles club
Okay.
website. I know there's he had did like a product of the month, and there was a company out there that's doing like 1930s and 40s buses, like
Really?
like passenger buses, and they
Uh-huh.
look pretty neat. But
Okay.
me, I wouldn't do nothing with it. But the
Yeah.
product itself looked pretty cool.
Okay.
Um, so would you say your company for your little buses, they're
Hmm.
more for modern buses, or if you have that opportunity to get old school buses, will you just have a whole entire fleet of different years and stuff, or would you stay with more modern?
I have a fleet of older ones, but most of them are pretty much the late model buses. Cause I'm trying to make my scheme kind of look like
More
like a real
modern?
bus company, like is like if you were looking at a bus company now.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Cause
sense.
it's kind of like a vision board for me.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense because I try to ask a lot of the interviews I do, like
Mm.
what how do I say it? Like what era do they model in and why? But you
Oh,
pretty much just explained it. You
yeah,
model in mostly current or
yeah,
relatively current because you want it to look more modern today. So that pretty
Exactly.
much answered the question that I didn't even have to ask.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I mean,
That makes sense.
they do have a market for the older buses, and there's a lot of guys that mostly collect most of the older ones. But as of right now, I say you have a better chance to get the new ones because it's a fairly new company,
I got
and
you. Okay.
they was trying to appease the newer because actually they're actually promotional models.
Oh.
Like the company, like I say, like the manufacturer who actually makes the bus. Like I'll show you this one. This is actually a company that makes the bus. This is Prevost.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this is what they call a demonstrator. So this is what you would walk into Prevost office, and he's about to sell you a real bus, and he'll have this sitting on
Oh,
on
I
his
got you.
desk.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what
yeah.
he'll do is, okay, you bought 5 buses from me. Let me give you this one as a promotional deal as appreciation, so you can put it on your desk at your company. So this is what they're pretty much are, promotional models. But a person like me, I'll get it and strip it and make it my own.
Yeah, which I totally approve of. Anytime you're
Yeah,
gonna make a current model of any kind, your own version of it, I approve no
exactly.
matter how bad or how good it comes out. Because I
Yeah,
don't like leaving nothing stock. I mean, if
yeah,
you've seen anything I posted, you know.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
that's
like I said,
cool.
there's a market for it. That on the bus site, there's a lot of people who buy them as is and they just collect them like that. And then you have a group like me who just does it all. It's like every bus I own, I gotta put my own stamp on it. I can't leave it like that.
I think that's general in most model builders. So you
Okay.
have, I told this to another interview earlier. I said, I think there's three categories in this scale, in this 187 scale. There's the collector,
Okay.
then there's just the builder that's going to take like that model and just try to replicate the real version of it. And then
Okay.
there's the custom builder that's going to make
Okay.
it their own version.
Yeah.
And like you have your brand, you have your bus
Yep.
brand. You're going to make that your bus brand with different paint schemes or whatever, but it's going to be your brand and your style. And
Exactly.
those are the three categories I see only in this scale and only in the
Gotcha.
vehicle. So I'm not saying model railroading. That's a whole different
Yeah,
box
that's a
of
whole other
animals to
world.
talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the whole
But
world.
in the vehicle side, there's just the custom car builder, the car
Mm-hmm.
builder, and then the collector. That's it. I could be
Exactly.
wrong. There could be a lot of little gray areas I'm missing, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean in general. So you are
Gotcha.
the custom
I'm the
car builder.
custom.
Yeah,
Yep. I'm the custom. Yep.
which is cool because I particularly am fond of custom cars. And even if they're stock looking, but you made custom touches to it because you
Exactly.
added your own paint, you added your own logo, that's custom. Even if
Like
you
this.
added your own wheels.
Like this one is pretty much as is the way you get it, but I added my own touch because it actually was white, and I thought it
Oh,
would look
okay.
better in silver.
It does look good. I mean, I'm not a
So
bus guy, but it looks good.
yeah,
I
so I
I
can,
can see that.
I wish I had an original one so you could see the difference, but to me, the
Nice.
real one I saw in real life was silver. So I said I'm gonna make mine silver too. I didn't like
Okay.
the stock one; it was white.
Yeah. Hey, so I wanted to bring this up. I seen
Okay.
an RV that looked a lot sort of styling of that kind of a bus, an
Okay.
RV that right in front of the rear axles, they
Hmm.
had a flip up door that allowed a car to get pulled out of it and
Yeah.
to drive off. Like it had, like the bus had its own hydraulic system to raise it up,
Hmm.
obviously off
Yeah.
the ground to level it when it's camping or whatever. And then
Yeah.
the door lifted up and pulled out. You ever think about something like that?
Like building one myself.
Yeah. Had like a
Nah,
personal bus for your company for you to travel around the country
oh
in
man,
187 scale.
I would love that. Man. That would
Because
take
I
some
thought
work though.
about that. Yeah, I thought about getting a bus, painting
Uh-huh.
it all black, tint the windows all black, just black it out, and
Yeah.
put some like big, big diesel rims on there, like 30
Yeah.
inch diesel rims with skinny tires, and then
Uh-huh.
have like a supercar. be able to pull out the bottom of it and kind of drive off.
Hey,
Because the
it's
supercar
popular.
is already low, so it'll be
Is
able to fit underneath there real easy.
yeah, I got you.
That's been a
Definitely.
thought of mine, though.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be something.
So with your diorama buildings, you got modules, or are they just individual dioramas? Like when I say modules, like the garage modules there, and then that behind the back or behind the Hollywood studios is like that. So like this one's, I think, 2 feet by 2 feet, and that one's 4 feet by 2 feet.
Hmm.
You have like modules, or is it more just individual small little dioramas
Well,
for your garage?
well, I'm actually working on it now. It's one big diorama,
Oh,
all
okay.
one piece. It's actually in my closet. So it's just one piece, one solid piece.
That's cool.
Yep.
What are you gonna have it like? Are you gonna electrify it with like lights or anything, or?
That might be something later on, but as of right now, I'm just keeping it basic.
That makes sense. Start off
Yeah.
basic, and then eventually, yeah, that makes sense. That's
Well,
cool.
you know
So,
how it is. You once you get started, you say I'm just gonna do this, and I'm just good. And then when you finish, something else comes up, and then something else comes up, and then next thing
yeah,
you know,
right.
it builds up.
Yeah, that's like that backlot module. I mean, all the buildings light up. I got street lights. I didn't
Oh
plan on
man,
doing really none of that.
exactly. Yeah.
That's cool though. You plan on modeling anything else besides buses?
I thought about doing a truck company. Um, I thought
Like a
about it 'cause I,
like a moving truck or a diesel truck or a tow
like
truck?
like 18 wheelers.
Oh, okay.
Cause I saw a guy. He did a truck stop. Man, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It had like
There's
the fuel aisles and everything, and the little fuel bay and everything. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
I mean, you could have that truck stop right next to your bus stop. That could be
That's what
cool.
I was gonna do, but I didn't have enough room.
Right. Well, that's
Cause
the
like I said,
next
it's just in my
diorama.
closet. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
You need to move that out and put it in a room and
it's a
start
room.
building onto it.
Yeah, right. If I had the room, I would.
So that's pretty cool that you do that, because I don't think anybody else in the group is focused on buses as much as you are, that I've noticed. And you're doing something outside of the norm, which
Yeah.
when I say norm, I mean strictly commercial vehicles of big rigs and
Hmm.
anything else related to that. Um, so it's neat to be able to see other modelers think outside the box and give it their own spin.
Exactly.
Because I know when I post, I'm all the way out the box, and nobody's
Exactly.
really doing what I'm doing. And even though you're not doing what I'm doing, you're
Hmm.
doing the same thing as I'm doing, which
Exactly.
is
Same.
making your own version of that model instead of
Yeah.
leaving it stock.
And I'm not
That's
trying to
good.
go. I'm not trying to throw shade at other collectors, but me personally, I get bored of seeing pictures of a model that you just went to the store and just said, "Look at what I got." I,
Yeah.
I appreciate your collection, and it's great, especially if you have a large one. But I like the collectors that like to think out the box and put their own spin to it and
Me
make it
too.
their
Me too.
own.
Yeah.
So,
Me too. Like I took there's a what did I do with that? Uh, it's somewhere in this display case. Um, I took an Oxford, I think it's like a 37, 38 Ford. Man, I don't
okay.
even know where it went. Oh, here we go. I'm going to show you. I took a regular Oxford, like 30s Ford, and I liked the way it looked like it
Yeah.
was. So all I did was slam it down and make it look like a bomb.
Wow.
If you can see that. So the paint stock,
Uh-huh.
and it's this tan one. So the paint stock, it's just dropped down to the ground like a old lead sled.
Okay.
because I didn't like it stock neither, but I didn't want to ruin what was going on with it
Mm-hmm.
because I thought the model itself was pretty decent, and I thought the paint was pretty decent, but it needed some attitude.
I
So
got you.
you got to lower it.
I hear you. That's what I'm talking about. You know, you have a vision when you look at it. You say, I think it would look better like this, or
Right.
use your creativity.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
another
Right.
thing. Another thing I do is, I don't know if you've been on the road and you see a bus that does like teams and stuff.
Yeah. Like
You know,
basketball teams,
like
football teams.
basketball team,
Yeah.
football
Yeah.
team. You know, they contract the bus to take them to the games. A lot of times what they'll do is wrap the bus with the team on it. So I do that too with mine. So I'll show you one like this. This is the Carolina Panthers.
You know what? I live in Durham, North Carolina. I know
Oh,
that
okay.
team. I don't know that team. I know that team from watching the news and them going to the playoffs and whatever.
You're in Durham?
Yeah.
I was in Durham today.
Oh man, we could have met up and did a live interview.
Yeah, right. So that's Carolina. All my stuff is South Carolina and North Carolina. So since
Oh,
you're from
okay.
Durham, that's Duke.
Yep.
That's
I've
the
seen and
Duke bus.
I've seen when the teams are caravanning with like 2 to 3 buses, sometimes 4. Usually they
Uh-huh.
leaving in the middle of the night somewhere to get somewhere else the next day. And
Yep.
usually what I see is just the plain white buses with the
Yeah.
black tinted windows. So you don't
Yeah.
know what team's in there. You don't
That's
know
true.
where they're going. You just know they came from somewhere super local
Yeah.
because I mean it's like they just got on the freeway somewhere or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one is it's like
Oh yeah.
you North
UNC.
Carolina. So you
Right.
know all these.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I'm not a sports fan at all. I could care less
Okay.
for all them teams, but I know because
Yeah,
I watch
yeah.
the news. They are on
Exactly.
the news all the
I
time
got
during sports season.
Yeah.
But it's cool
But
that you have those though, because how many people can say they have a Duke Carolina bus? Not very many. And if they do, it's something that was produced by the company and they just collected it. So it's nothing custom about it.
man, you don't know how many people hit me up. Can you make me one of those? And I'm like, I would, but are you willing to pay? Because
There you go.
you know,
That's
and
the
you
name
know
of the
it,
game
it's
right there.
there you go. I mean, the bus by itself is 30, $40. But are you gonna pay the 30, $40 for the bus plus the decals and the paint and all that?
I
That
mean, they might, man. They might. I tell you what, my cheapest custom cars that I sell
okay.
go for about 70 to 80 bucks. And I could have literally just, I don't know, repainted it and maybe lowered it, but
Okay.
it's still just a stock version of it.
Pretty
So
much.
you never know what somebody's out willing to pay for something if they want it bad enough. You
That's
just
true.
tell them some crazy price and they'll just say yes or no.
That's
Like
true.
that Ghostbusters car, I gave
Yeah.
an astronomical price because I never wanted to rebuild it again. And
Mm.
people said, okay. I was like,
Really?
shoot, okay. You
Wow.
crazy enough to pay that price? You can have it.
Wow. Yeah. That thing was nice too. I like Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So and even the Knight Rider car, I didn't give an astronomical price. I basically just doubled the price that it would cost to build it yourself.
Yeah.
And I have people saying yes on that too. So
Wow. Wow.
I mean, if you just give them a price, you think about a price that you're comfortable with not wanting to give it away for, and if
Yeah.
they say yes to it, I roll with it.
I got you.
And then give them some kind of timeline that, doesn't stress you out and
Mm.
doesn't put you in a pinch of any kind, that you can kind of just put it down, come back to it, put it down, come back to it.
Yeah.
And you're not like, I have to
Mm.
have it next week kind of thing.
Yeah. I got you.
Because that's what I do. I told the people with the Ghostbuster car, I'm selling 2 of them right now for customers, and it's a 6-month waiting list.
Got
And
you.
it's basically because of East Coast Circuit. That's their waiting list, not mine. I could have the
Yeah.
car done in a week, but because I'm waiting on them to install the lights, that's their timeline.
Got you.
I wonder if I should have said this on a YouTube or not. But I
Yeah,
mean, I don't mind. I give all my customers every information they can have so they can choose to build it themselves. I give them all the links to everywhere I get my stuff from so they
got
can
you.
price it together if they want and do it, or they could just have me do it and I'll do it. I don't care.
Got you. Got you.
But that's cool, man. You ever plan on taking your stuff and displaying it at any shows? Like I know this year I went to Springfield, Mass for the train show up there to display all my stuff with the 187 scale group. I mean, it's a
Okay.
long trip, and
Uh,
I think you're probably 3 hours or 4 hours away from me, so it'd be
uh,
just an extra 4 hours for you.
yeah.
But and then I went to the RPM meet in St. Louis.
Hmm.
That's another long trip. You ever think about maybe doing that in the future? Like just
Uh,
displaying your stuff out for people to see? I mean,
if
it's an
it came up,
expensive weekend to display stuff, but it's
yeah.
fun because you meet other builders
Got you.
in this little hobby of ours.
Um, I would consider it. It sounds like it would be a fun experience, but it never really crossed my mind because, like I said, our modeling group is very small compared to everybody else.
No, it
Like
really
buses,
is.
and especially the bus market, it's very small of collectors that collect the buses. Because even the people that make them, when they make them, they literally only make maybe 1,000 because they
Oh,
know
wow.
that it's only a select few people that's gonna really buy them like that.
Right,
It's a
right,
very
right.
small group of people that collect model buses
That's funny you
compared
say
to the
that.
other groups.
Right. That's funny you
Yeah.
say that because I know Athearn started, I don't know, 15 years ago,
Hmm.
or maybe 10 years ago, started their line of like Model A pickups and sedans and stuff for their
Hmm.
like 1920s and 30s collector and train layout people. And I instantly saw that and thought, rat rod. That's all I saw. Hot rod,
Yeah.
rat rod. Don't leave it stock.
Hmm.
And they don't produce those anymore. You can still get them from train shops and stuff, but it's not like you can order it from them.
Got you.
And I kind of feel like it might have been the same thing. Like they did a limited run. They made so many, and when they're out, they're out. It
That's
makes
pretty
me,
much how the buses work.
yeah, that's crazy. So you kind of have to get them when they're out then, because if you don't,
Yeah.
you probably
Yep.
won't get them at all.
Exactly.
So you
Exactly.
gotta be on your game, man. You gotta know when that stuff's dropping.
Oh, I'm connected.
I bet. I mean, seeing that you're in the business you're in and you're in the collecting and in model building that you are in, yeah, you would need to be, or else you'd
Yeah.
just be missing out on a lot of stuff.
Like this model just came out this year. They're already sold out.
Oh, dang.
Now
Oh,
they're gonna come out with more, but with different paint jobs. But this particular one, it's done.
wow.
There's already guys in the group asking, "Yo, anybody know one who got an extra one that's willing to sell?" And
Oh,
it's already done.
so how many of them you got?
I just got one.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, man, you might be able to fill up your pockets real quick.
I should have bought at least 5. I didn't know they was gonna sell that fast.
It's hindsight. You never know what's gonna happen until it's already done, and you're like, darn
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So, and since you started modeling, how many custom buses you figure you've done in your model career so far?
Woo. And not just 187 or all of them all together.
Now, let's forget about the other scales and just collect
Okay,
187. How many 187 ones?
at least 100.
Okay. That's a lot of buses, man.
But I don't
And they're
have them
mostly
all.
the same kind?
Um,
Like the same
mm,
type of bus, just with different paint schemes and whatnot? Or are they
uh,
various, all different kind of buses?
yeah, various.
Okay.
But a lot of them I've sold, so I don't have them anymore.
Hey, you don't need all of them. I mean,
No,
sometimes I wish I didn't sell none of my cars, but then other times I'm like, I wouldn't have been able to get other cars if I didn't sell these
that
ones to get the money for it.
see, a lot of people because I have an Instagram account too that I post my stuff, and people think that my collection is so huge, but what they don't realize is the picture you liked yesterday, I don't have that anymore because I sold that to get the bus you see today.
Yeah,
So
that's funny.
I flip my fleet pretty often.
That's so funny because I, on the other hand, do have tons of cars that I've built still. I've only
Okay.
sold probably maybe an eighth of the cars I've ever built. And
Okay.
when I go to the Springfield show, I've got more on display than anybody else that displayed anything at the show. Like
Okay.
I'll have as much on just for display as some people have to sell for the whole entire weekend.
Wow.
And I never realized I had that much until I went to the show and found out maybe I'm putting out way too many cars.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's not like I'm trying to brag. I build a lot and I build them quick. So why
Mm-hmm.
not show them? I mean, the more variety, the more different, the better, I think, and it gives people stuff to look at, you know? Like if you only had 20 cars on your table, you could
Yeah.
see that with one blink and be like, okay, cool. He builds
Mm-hmm.
cars. Then you got somebody with like 200 cars, you can be like, oh, I gotta take some time and look at these.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
But that's cool though. I mean, I don't try to keep them all. I don't really say that I'm selling them. And then if
Mm-hmm.
somebody asks me, that's when they're
Yeah.
for sale. If somebody asks me like, hey, I sold that car like a month ago. You want to sell it? And then I think, oh, okay, somebody wants it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
I,
cool.
yeah. Well, let's say if I have 50 buses in my fleet right now, I would say 25 I'll be willing to sell, and the back 25 I will never sell because those are rare, and
Right.
I will never find those anywhere ever again. And plus, they're my favorites. So
That makes sense.
there's a set of my fleet that I will never sell, and then that top
Yeah.
end, those can go because I'll make room for new ones.
Right. No, that totally makes sense because I've got right now all three versions of the Ghostbusters car all lit up,
Mm-hmm.
like from the first movie, the second movie, and then the video game version.
Okay.
And the second movie car, it's got twice or three times as more decals all over the car, and
Mm-hmm.
it's got twice as more lights than the first movie car had.
Yeah.
I'm never building another one of those, and I'm never selling the one I've got, no matter how much somebody wants to give me.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. So that's why a lot of people, they look at my fleet and they say, well, he's always getting a new bus. That's because I'm always flipping the top end. But the back end,
Yes.
I'm never selling those.
Right. Yeah, I try to I mean, ever since Shapeway took over how passenger vehicles are being able to be offered,
Mm-hmm.
before then I was not really trying, but sort of trying to buy a bunch of just regular passenger cars from like classic cars all in bulk, no matter if I had multiples of the same one, just
Yeah.
because the more you buy, it seems like the cheaper the lot is compared if you bought them all individually.
Yeah.
And so I have a whole bunch of multiples that I've turned into all different types of paint jobs and whatnot. And I
Mm-hmm.
get a lot of them because of like bulk buying of just lots of classic cars or whatnot.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
it's kind of the same like how you say you only have so many because you're being able to sell the
Mm-hmm.
back end to afford the front end. And
Exactly.
I was doing it, I don't know if I'm doing it the wrong way or the right way. I mean, right now I'm not even buying lots of cars no more. I'm just
Okay.
buying like 2 or 3 off of Shapeway once a month or less. And
Yeah.
because those cars, man, that Ecto car, the Ghostbusters car is like 30, 36, $37 plus $10 shipping. That's
Wow.
unpainted, and I
Yeah.
still got to
Yeah.
do all the work to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm tired of that car. But customers keep wanting me to build them for them, so it's like, all right,
Yeah. It's
I'll
a
build
collector's
another one.
item. Yeah, it's a collector's item.
Right. And the crazy thing is, I was just telling another guest this. I've sold probably 18 Ghostbusters cars, and
Wow.
never once have I ever seen somebody post it online saying, "Oh, look what I just added to my edition."
Mm,
Ever. Nobody's
wow.
ever done that. And it makes me wonder, like, why aren't you advertising this? You should be happy. This is the
I don't
coolest
know.
car in your whole entire collection.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
But that's cool, man. Shoot, at the end of this year, I think in November, I don't
Okay.
know how far away you are from the Charlotte area or the Winston-Salem area, but somewhere right in the middle of Charlotte and Winston-Salem,
Mm-hmm.
there's an RPM train meet in
Oh,
that
okay.
area of North Carolina. I don't know if they're going to have it on because this pandemic seems to be lingering on longer and longer every month.
Yeah.
Um, but it's all the way in November, so we still have time to possibly have it go on.
Okay.
But that's sort of a free event, but it happens on a Friday and a Saturday, which
Mm-hmm.
Friday part kind of sucks because if you got kids, they're in school, so you
Yeah.
know you'd have to figure something out about that. But it'd be cool if you thought about if they keep it going, if they keep it scheduled. It'd be kind of cool if you and I showed up with our little cars and showed that train people what it's all about. Because I can tell you,
Mm-hmm.
there aren't any just vehicle builders that go to that little train meet because
Okay.
I've seen pictures of it in the past few years. They're all train people. They may have some vehicles, but they don't focus on just vehicles like
Yeah.
you do, like I do, like our
Yeah.
club does.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be kind of cool if we like showed them up and been like, "What now?"
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Then we the new wave. That's the old school.
Right, right. That I think that I mean the first year I went to uh, St. Louis was the first year our little car club was allowed or was I wouldn't say allowed, but was featured to show at that RPM meet in St. Louis. And
Okay.
so I was like, oh, that might be closer than Springfield, since Springfield, Massachusetts seems to happen in the end of January of every year. And it's in Massachusetts, so there's bad snow up there. I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
St. Louis is in the middle of the year. There ain't no
Mm.
snow out there. It'd probably be easier to get to. So I went to that for the last 2 years, except for this year. And
Okay.
it's not bad. It's not bad for just a show and tell. It's an
Okay.
expensive weekend, but I mean, we have probably 15 of our main contributors to our club, our little 187 scale club, go to that show and
Mm-hmm.
really show up in full effect. It's pretty cool.
Okay. That's cool. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
I think if I kind of wish that the Carolinas have more stuff to do with our scale, not just
Yeah.
train shows, because we have
Yeah.
train shows throughout the whole state, the two
Okay.
states,
Uh-huh.
but nothing just kind of geared more towards just what we do. I
Yeah.
think it'd
Yeah.
be cool if we did have more stuff like that.
Yeah, it would. Definitely. I definitely would be involved with it.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
like you said, our little hobby is so small.
That's
I
true.
couldn't tell you how many people live in North Carolina that's into just this. Probably a handful. Probably just a
Nah.
handful in South Carolina. So
Yeah. Yeah. You're
it
right.
it would probably be way too hard to get something going and then to have all 20 of us to commit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Ken Hamilton?
Mm-mm.
Have you
No.
heard of him? He's a
No.
master modeler, and
Okay.
he has done quite a few 187 scale vehicle builds and other buildings and dioramas, all in this scale, plus multiple other scales. He builds in every scale, but he's a
Wow.
master modeler and
Mm.
writes for. I think he used to wrote for Scale Modeler, the model car magazine,
Okay.
or Scale Auto or something like that. And then I think he's even had some articles in some train railroad magazines. But
Wow.
he's in South Carolina.
Really?
Yeah. And
You
I'm
know.
telling you, I've been wanting to meet him ever since I moved to North Carolina, which was 12 years ago. I've
Uh-huh.
been wanting to actually go to his house and see all his stuff that he's been doing,
Wow.
and talk to him, but I haven't had a chance to. And
Wow.
I think maybe sometime in the future, you, me, him, and maybe anybody else that might be into this scale hobby could
Hmm.
maybe like meet up for a day or something somewhere.
Oh man,
We
that
could
would be
just
awesome.
talk
Yeah.
models all day.
Yeah, that would be
Bring
awesome.
some of our stuff that we've done to do show and tells and whatnot. I think that'd
Uh-huh.
be neat.
Yeah, man. Shoot. I One thing about me, I like to learn because I consider myself a new modeler. It's always
Well,
something I wanted to do for
yeah.
years, but I just now had the opportunity to do it in these last 5 years.
I mean, from what I can tell you, even though you consider yourself new, and I
Mhm.
mean, I guess in consideration of modeling, sure, 5 years isn't that old at all. But
Yeah.
from what I can see from what you build some pretty good stuff for just being
Yeah.
5 years in. I mean, your
Yeah.
paint schemes, they're on
Hmm.
point. I
Okay.
mean, you know what they are. And I don't see no drip lines. I don't see no overspray. Everything that I've seen of yours looks really well done.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you, I done messed up a whole fleet of buses before,
Oh, I'm
you know.
sure. Yeah.
But
I mean, it
it
happens.
takes practice. It takes
Yeah.
practice. Yeah.
Well, so what ends up being posted is pretty nice stuff.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
so
But
I say good job
I
for
don't
sure.
mind showing y'all my set real quick. I'm gonna get off here in a little bit, but I'm before I get off, I'm gonna show you my diorama real quick, so you can see what you see on the 180 scale, 187 scale. Let me see if I can flip this around.
Up there you go. Oh,
That's
okay,
pretty
yeah,
much
yeah.
what you see
Oh,
when
you
you're
even
on
got
the
the background too? That's awesome.
yeah. So that's the fire station. But you see, I got my name,
Yep,
on the
yep.
building. So
I'm gonna tell you what, man. I don't know fire stations except for the Ghostbusters fire station. That's the only one I know. I would have even never known that was a fire station if you didn't say that. I'd have just thought that was some kind of custom bus shop, seeing that you see
yeah,
buses.
yeah.
No,
So
I love that little dial, dude, because dude, you got all the bus lanes, you got all the buses on there, then you have it fenced off, and then you got the main road to come in. Dude,
oh
that's
yeah,
really good. And you got the
and
scenery with the fence and the trees. I'm
oh
telling
yeah.
you, man, that's really good. I don't know what you
Now
think about it, but from a modeler that's been doing it for 30 years, man, you even got the front gate entrance guard. Man,
yeah.
that's
Now
good.
I ain't gonna show you across. I'm working on across the street. I'll just give you a glimpse. That's the hotel and stuff.
Oh,
But that's it. I'm just giving the
dang.
glimpse.
Nah,
That's just a
that's
glimpse.
cool though. That's really
That's
cool.
that's what's coming next year. Well, by the end of the year.
So how you gonna get that out there?
I can't. That's
You need to cut that
stationary.
in half so you can lift it
That's
up out of there.
stationary. That's stationary. But
No,
like I
that's
said,
cool though.
I'm working on across the street. As you see, I got the little hotel and stuff like that. I'm working on it. But
That's awesome though. I mean, especially if you got buses, you got people from coming from out of town to drive them buses. They have to stay somewhere the night before. So
exactly,
why not the hotel?
a hotel. So
That's
I'm
cool,
working
man.
on it.
It looks good, dude. You have my stamp of approval.
Oh well,
I like it.
I appreciate it, man.
And if you could cut that in half, then we could bring it to shows. And you can have all your whole setup there.
Oh
Or just
man,
build another one that's smaller version.
yeah, right, yeah, definitely, man.
That's cool, man. Hey,
But
well,
I
I know you
definitely
said you want to
appreciate the.
go pretty
Yeah, I got
soon.
something to do real quick. I got a lot of other hobbies that I do, so
I got you.
I got
Well,
something else
man,
on this
I'll tell
evening.
you what, it was a pleasure talking to you. I like your stuff. I'm not a bus guy, but I
Yeah,
appreciate modelers. And then you have an enthusiasm for it and a passion, which brings the model that I don't really know anything about, brings it to life more, makes it more. It's much better to listen to somebody that has a passion for their models than just somebody that just builds to build and don't really care about none of them.
Exactly.
And you definitely have a passion, and you're pretty good at it. And I like that. That's cool.
I definitely appreciate it. Definitely love your stuff too, because I noticed it on the group. So definitely
Right on. Yeah.
appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna sign this podcast off, and I'll have a link to your Facebook page in the
Okay.
description below when I post this online. And
Okay.
so if anybody wants to get a hold of you, maybe you can shoot me your Instagram in the messenger, and I'll post that too
Okay. Yeah, I'll
in the
send it to you.
description, so people know how to get a hold of you if they do want to buy a bus.
Okay. That's cool. Or they just want to see the pictures, because that's where I post most of my pictures of
Right.
Instagram. So
Right
that'll
on.
be cool.
Well, I'm gonna end this podcast. If you want to stay on for like a minute or two after, that's cool. But everybody, this is Halfass Customs. This is the podcast. My special guest. We're gonna end this show tonight. Y'all have a good night. See you later.